Hello, namaste. Welcome to ForOptom Optometry Updates panel discussion. Today, we have with us scholar optometrists pursuing higher degrees in the field of optometry from two different countries to discuss with us about students' perspective in optometry pursuing higher studies outside South Asia. My name is Manashvi, and I will be moderating the discussion today. So let's begin by welcoming our panelists. Ms. Tashi from Nepal completed her Bachelor's of Optometry from SGRR Institute of Medical and Health Sciences, Dehradun, India, in July 2017, and is currently pursuing Masters of Optometry from University of South Wales, Australia. Welcome to the discussion, Ms. Tashi.
Thank you, Manashri. Thank you.
Next up, we have Ms. Bhagyashree Rawal, who completed her Bachelor's of Optometry from Shankara College of Optometry in Bangalore and is currently pursuing Masters in Investigative Ophthalmology and Vision Research in Glasgow Caledonian University, United Kingdom. Welcome to discussion, Ms. Bhagyashree.
Thank you, Manashwi.
So let's just begin the discussion right away. I'll start with Ms. Bhagyashree here. How are you as an eye care practitioner in UK dealing with current pandemic?
So I'm not an eye care practitioner here. I'm just a student. Okay. And then right now I'm just working from home as the guideline says to stay at home. And thankfully my university has provided me all the resources online. So yes, I'm just working from home and trying to finish off my thesis. Yes.
Ms. Tashi, how are you dealing with the current pandemic?
Yeah, like Bhagyashree, I'm also here as a student, but I also work as a optical dispenser in one of the optical store here. So yeah, because of this coronavirus situation, which has had like very great impact on every individual's life. So even in our clinic, when we see the patients, we have to be more conscious about like sanitizing the environment. So after every patient's, like, we need to make sure we clean that area, we clean the touch area, and we also have to make sure that the patient maintains proper social distancing. Yeah, because of the pandemic, there's been like the workload has increased, I have to say. Yeah.
Thank you. So many Nepalese and Indian optometrists and students are really curious about the scope of optometry outside our country in Australia or UK. So can you shed a light on the situation in Australia, the scope of optometry in Australia, Ms. Tashi?
Here in Australia, the optometrist does pretty much everything. So I would say that there is like very great scope of optometry. You can also go in and do the vision therapy, or you can also be research optometrist. You might do your PhD, and then you can also do the teaching to undergraduate student at the same time, because some of my friends are doing that at the moment. And yeah, I also have some of my friends who works at who serves the children at school as an optometrist. So yeah, they do pretty much everything here.
So the scope of optometry is quite good in Australia, you would say?
Yeah, very good.
Ms. Bhagyashree, how would you sum up the scope of optometry in UK?
So I would agree with Tashi, and I would say that I believe the scope of optometry is immense all around the world. Okay, not only restricted to Australia, UK, or India, or Nepal. But then I would say a person who wish to explore more or enhance their clinical skills or maybe research should definitely look for options abroad. And depending on a person's skills and interests, he or she can definitely pursue masters or probably some short-term course in UK. The scope is very, very rich, I would say. Yeah.
Being an Indian citizen, how did you get a chance to study in the UK? Could you elaborate on that?
Well, I would say it was not a chance, and it was a decision. I never got a chance to study. It was my sole decision that probably I should do something to increase my skills. It took me some time, and it took me like a year and a half to decide if I want to study further or not. But all you need is like interest and focus. Once you get that, once the path is clear, then you can go for that decision, I would say.
Okay, so how would you describe the process to be? What process did you go to study in the UK?
So the process is very simple. It's not as hard as we think. And then it's like first decide your interest, because there are various courses which, some are which are like solely clinical, some are only research based, and some are blend of both. So decide on what you want, and then most of the applications are online, and 90% of them are free. And then you would require a few probably documents, I would say, that is your school certificates and degree certificates. Usually the cutoff is around 50% to 60%. Then you need your SOP, that is statement of purpose, saying why you interested in the course and what will you do after that course, and why that country and why that university. And then you need CVs and a few recommendation letters. You also need English proficiency test results, but some universities in the UK accept that. So you have to look at the course you like first, and then just apply online. And there are many consultancies as well which help you, and there are many consultancies in India which are free. So if you get confused at any point in your applications, you can just take their help. But then it's easy. I mean, I did it myself. I applied online myself, and it was not very cumbersome.
Okay, Ms. Tashi, what was your process to study in Australia?
So, well, in my case, I planned to pursue higher education in this field, but I already studied in India, and at the time when I decided to do higher courses, there were no any master's college in Nepal. They just started recently. So, and because I already finished my undergraduate in India, I wanted to take experience of some other countries as well. And since I knew like many optometrists from Australia, so they also advised me to come here, and they suggested me that it would be much more easier for me. But yeah, the papers are much more similar, as Bhagesh mentioned. The paperwork, it's much more similar, so I would not repeat on that. But in my case, I was very much confused because I didn't know how to like do all the paperwork in the beginning. And when I searched, I came to know that there is only one consultancy that helps in getting helps you to connect with the optometry university here in Australia. So that also I knew from the university website. So when I searched the university website, they had that consultancy listed under their name. So it was global reach. So I think that's only one consultancy that connects the Nepalese student with optometry college. Yeah, and I went there, and but even like they said that they were offering me other courses, but I was like, no, I have to do this. Can you please help me in this? And then that's how I did everything. Yeah.
All right, talking about the specialties of optometry, what specialty do you see most frequently or mostly practiced in Australia, Ms. Tashi?
Here at the moment, I have mostly seen the behavioral optometry practice. And yeah, at the moment, myopia control clinic are much more being advanced here. Yeah.
Ms. Bhagesh,
That's the, that's the two major and most commonly seen practices here that I have
myopia
seen.
control and the behavioral optometry and vision therapy.
Yeah, I think so. That's my opinion.
All right, Ms. Bhageshri, what specialty of optometry do you see most practiced in UK?
So I would say that almost all the specialties are practiced in the UK. And that's the best thing about it, that you can explore more and go by your interests again. And there is a difference in practicing here, because optometrists here can also prescribe first-line medicines. So you need to undergo a course called ocular therapeutics. Once you complete the modules, depending on your interest, you can specialize in giving drugs for glaucoma, dry eye, or many ocular allergies as well. So I would say that they practice almost all the specialties, but if you are interested in prescribing, and many optometrists do that here, they like to open their own practice and prescribe. So that's the I would say specialty they look for. So they like glaucoma, then they just do the glaucoma section. So they specialize in that, not everything.
Okay, so the optometrists are basically pushing the boundaries of eye care system, especially in abroad, like in UK, as you mentioned. So what are the other things that the optometrists are allowed to do in UK that differentiates from the practice in India? Or is there any governing body to see the practice as well?
So the difference, as I told you, is the same. Like, the
Mm.
optometrists can prescribe first line medicines and probably topical drugs, and you know manage better the patients, because the patients come to the optometrist first and then the ophthalmologist. So the connection is better with the optometrist. And yes, there is a governing body called General Optical Council, that's called GOC short. And yeah, they look at all the optometrists and the opticians which practice, and they give license to practice in the UK. Yes.
All right, Ms. Tashi, how would you, what are the differences in practice that you see in Nepal and Australia, in regards of what an optometrist can do?
Here in Australia, so most of the optometrists and recent graduates are therapeutically endorsed, and they can also prescribe drugs. And as I see, they see in the practices, they do everything like vision screening, refraction, contact lens management, and diagnosis and management of disease, and yeah, obviously drugs prescription. And the difference that I see in Nepal and here in the optometry is the optometrists, there are no any optometrists in hospitals. I haven't seen any optometrists working in hospitals. So yeah, and even I asked some of my friends about this, and they said no optometrist works at hospital. They just do at the independent clinics or optometric clinic. Yeah, that's the major difference I found.
So the optometrists there practice independently out of the hospital setup.
Yeah.
And can a Nepali person or an Indian person practice optometry independently in Australia? Have you seen that happening?
Yes, they can, but it's like very complicated process. I don't know the Nepalese optometrist, but I know one of the Indian optometrists. He was a graduate from LVPI College of Optometry, and I think he recently had his registration number from Australian Board of Optometry. But yeah, the process is like very difficult. And first, you have to fill out a form, and there are three types of forms. So if you are from Australia or New Zealand, then you have to fill out separate form. If you are from any other overseas country, you have to fill out the separate form. And they also have a list of colleges and universities that they certify. And if the colleges and university are under that certified list, then you have to fill another kind of form. So in context of Nepal and India, there's only one college that's under that list, and that's Bosch and Lomb School of Optometry from India. So I don't know why do they ask for like different forms, but yeah, there are three forms, and after they assess the form, then they will see your eligibility, like whether you are eligible to give the written examination or not. So once you do that, you go for your written examination, and once you complete your written examination, then there will be like 2 phases of practical examination. Phase 1 would be the skill assessment test, like are you familiar with the instrument, do you know how to use the instrument? And the second phase would be patient skill test, patient examination skills. So they will provide you some patients, and you have to do all the assessment, all the examinations. And if you pass that examination, go through that examination and pass, then only you will be eligible to apply for registration. And the total fees for all this process would be around 10,000 Australian dollar, which is, I think, very expensive for someone from overseas to do that. And even if you do not go through the if you fail in your written exam, then there's no any refund. You can't get your refund money back. So yeah, if you really want to get registered here, you really have to work hard, and I think make a bold decision, because I think that's a lot of money for me. Yeah.
Ms. Bhagyashree, can a Nepali or an Indian person practice independently in UK? And what is the procedure that they have to go through?
Well, it's very similar to what happens in Australia. Okay. And obviously, if you get registered with GOC, you
Pretty
can,
much similar.
yeah, it's pretty much the same. And you have to register with GOC, and the process is very, very cumbersome. I myself am, I tried like looking through what are the processes, and it would take around, you have to dedicate one whole year to it, I would say. It takes time, and especially for international students. And if you're from UK, it's easy for you, but if you're an international student, you have to prove your skills that you're good enough. So similarly, there are certain tests, and you have to showcase your skills. And in case you lack in some skill, you have to go to a university, get the module done. Like you have to go and study, and then you have to score well in that exam or the module, and then come back to GOC. And again, it's very, very expensive, and it's very time consuming as well. So
Yeah.
you have to be very, very bold about, okay, let me go for it. And you have it's not that you cannot do it, but you have to have enough money and time.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
It's very
Yeah, because
tedious.
I also know some people like they are like very confused about whether they should go for this examination or not. And yeah, some of my friends asked about this to me, and I couldn't even give them a proper answer, because it all depends on how you perform in your examination, and yeah, whether you can afford. Because if you try to, like, if you make a decision to apply for registration, and then if you can't do, then that's a great loss of money, I think.
Okay, regarding the course and scope of practice, what is the difference that you see between a practicing Australian and a practicing Nepali optometrist?
I've already said pretty much more about this. Yeah, the major
That was
the
regarding
major
the registration. So this time I'm like between you and another Australian, what are the differences that you see between the courses and the scope of practice?
here you mean like the courses and curriculum in India and in Australia?
Yes.
Uh, Actually, it also depends on which university you studied in India and which university you are studying in here in Australia. So at the moment where I'm studying, I think I find the courses and the topics like very advanced. They teach us everything in like very advanced detail. So yeah, that's pretty much.
Ms. Bhagyashree, what is the difference that you find regarding the course and the scope of practice between a British and an Indian optometrist?
So the course, I mean, if you see, the subjects are very similar, but the depth of knowledge is different, I would say. And if you see an optometrist who's done their bachelor's or honors in UK, and I've seen none of them are pursuing masters because they think that is enough. But for us,
Yeah.
we think that, I'm not saying the standards are low, but it's just apt for the situation, I would say. That's how much we require, and that's how much we are taught. But I would say that practice here is significantly different, because all the optometrists they practice independently, and they have a referral time as well. So when do you have to refer, one case depends on a strict guideline. There's a guideline which you have to follow. Like suppose you see something that is really urgent, you have to refer. But is there something you can manage yourself, then you don't have to refer. So to gain that much knowledge, you need to go in depth. So that is the only difference I saw. But I don't think we lack in any skills, because me coming here, I understood pretty much everything. It wasn't difficult. So I don't think we're lacking behind or something. But it's just that, we don't have that proper guidelines, I would say.
Okay, and what will be your future plan? Will you be coming back to India, or do you wish to continue your career in UK?
Well, with all the uncertain times, I have no idea what I'm going to do. But I'm, open to take up any opportunities that would help me in my skills, uplifting my skills and research skills. So hopefully I find something anywhere. I'm not like I cannot go back to India, or I just want to stay here or anything like that. I would just go for some opportunity that, helps me increase my knowledge and skills.
In case you come back to India, then how do you plan on utilizing your degree, and how do you plan on continuing your practice?
Well, the course which I'm doing is very much of research, and I hope to find something in research. But then if I have to come back, I think there are many opportunities in India as well. And I can always go into teaching and have my own practice. I don't know, it's not very clear. But again, I think I'm not, there yet. So I wanted to pursue something else as well. So probably I would like to study further. But right now, with all these things happening, I have no idea what's going to happen.
And these are the times of uncertainty, actually. So, Ms. Tashi, what is your future plan? Will you be coming back to Nepal and continue practice here, or are you planning to stay back and pursue your career over there?
I don't know why, but I feel like that's the most difficult question for me. Like, whoever asks me, I find it very difficult. I plan to go back to Nepal after I complete here, but because of this coronavirus situation, I'm confused as well. I don't know what to do. And I'm not confident enough to decide, even if I go back, will I be able to do that, whatever I had planned. But yeah, I always had a plan to go back to Nepal and eventually start my own practice. Not very soon, not as soon as I go back to Nepal, because I also have to understand the situation of Nepal, how the how the practice are running. Are there more need of practice, or in which area there are more need of practice? I definitely should know about all these. But yeah, I always had a plan to go back to Nepal, because I work with an organization here that provides eye care in remote areas in Nepal. So they have helped me a lot, and they also want me to go back to my country and help my people. But yeah, coronavirus made confused to everyone. I guess that's for everyone, not for only us, but I think that's for everyone.
If any student wants to pursue their higher optometry degree in Australia, what are the suggestions that you would give them?
I'm gonna talk about my personal experience. Since I graduated and then I didn't have much more work experience in Nepal, because I was busy in all my paperwork, and I was also helping the organization here in Australia to deal with all the paperwork and the eye camps and everything. So I didn't have any much clinical experience. So when I started my master's course, it was a bit difficult for me, because what they do, how they teach is like they expect that we have like all knowledge and we don't need any clinical exposure. So they just here where in the university that I studied, they just give you the theory knowledge and there's no any clinical placement, because they expect us that we are very much exposed to the clinical practice. So anyone who are planning to get them higher degree from Australia, I would suggest that you have to apply for your higher education once you have you are confident that you have all those clinical experience needed. And yeah, that was in my case. So that's from my side.
And so essentially you're
So
saying
yeah,
that people
even if
need to polish
even
up
if
their clinical experience.
yeah. So if because not only because it's difficult when you pursue your master's career, but it's also because during that 2 years time you won't be doing any clinical practices here. So it's if you are fresh graduate, then you are much more likely to forget all your clinical skills. Luckily, I know some of the optometrists here, and they are happy for me to go and observe in the clinic and do the just observe the clinic, help them with the testing. So I should say I was lucky to know some people here. But yeah, it would be very beneficial, very helpful for you, for anyone who wants to study higher degrees in here. If you have clinical experience, that would be very much beneficial. Yeah.
Ms. Bhagyashree, if someone wants to pursue their higher optometry degrees in UK, then what would be the suggestions that you would give them?
Well, so I would like everybody to have some time before they decide on, just going for a course abroad. Because it sounds very interesting, oh, you're going abroad and doing something, but it's not that easy. So take some time, have some patience, decide on what you like. Okay, because one, it's expensive, and two, once you're here, there's no looking back. You cannot go back. So once you have decided on your interests, you can always go for, as I told before, that, depends. Mainly, there are three categories, I would say. One is like solely clinical, one is solely research, and a blend of both. So, and it's very unlike, I mean, I'm surprised to see in Australia, they don't have anything that is, helping you clinically. But here there are solely courses which enhance your skills clinically. So maybe it depends university to university as well. So and then so you have to choose the right course, like, because you don't have to lose some skills or forget some skills. If you want to enhance clinical course, and if I join something in research, there's no point. So all I'm saying is have some patience, understand what you like, and then obviously if you go for something you like, you feel that, oh, there's a lot of scope.
Yeah, and here, sorry.
Please continue.
Yeah, and most of the students here doing masters are also the domestic students. So what they do is they also work, and they do the masters as part-time. So most of the some of the courses are designed that way, so so that it would be beneficial to the domestic students that they are practicing. So those courses are designed as online course. So they would those courses are definitely helpful for them, but for us it's helpful, but the thing is that we don't get clinical exposure. Yeah.
And if a student would wish to get enrolled in optometry in Australia, then just could you briefly point out the steps that they need to take, just briefly?
Oh, is it for me? Okay.
Yes.
For me, just it's much more about paperwork that we already mentioned. So I was asked for my certificates from higher school and undergraduate school. And if you have a gap between your undergraduate and postgraduate time, then you also have to show what you were doing in that time period. Were you working or were you involved in something else?
Ms. Bhageshri, what would you suggest the process for students to get enrolled in optometry in UK?
Well, I mentioned before about the documents. So all that documents are required. And once it's pretty much the same, I think, everywhere in the world, even probably in India, because you need the basic degrees and everything. Only then you can apply. But then I would suggest that you should look into scholarships as well, because there are many scholarships which are given to students, international students. So that is one criteria I would like. While applying, when you start up your application, start doing your paperwork, keep Googling, keep doing your groundwork on scholarships as well, because we come from a country which is developing to a developed place. And when you convert your rupees into pounds, it matters. It's not a small thing. So meanwhile, just look for scholarships with the applications, and the process I told you is simple. It's not very cumbersome, and all the universities try their best to help the students in any way possible. So they reply to your emails immediately, and I think they have representatives all over the world. So my university has a representative who's sitting in India, who would have a better knowledge, because documents vary from country to country as well.
Yes.
So application process is simple, but the process after getting your admissions is a bit cumbersome, where you have to show your bank details. If you have got some scholarship, that would be great. And probably you might get some discounts, student discounts, because you're an international student. And then probably your previous work, or if you have published some papers, or that would help you get better chances of admissions. So yeah, I would say it's easier when you do. I mean, for me, I didn't find much difficulty in applications, but after that was a bit difficult, because you have to come here to a new place, find a place to live, and find another job so that you can sustain yourself. So enrollment is pretty much the same elsewhere, but try and look for better options everywhere.
So you suggest students to look into the scholarships.
So why not? Because there are scholarships from, if you see, UK government has scholarships, Indian government has scholarships, and then there are charities and trusts which have scholarships. And if you are good at what you do, and you know that you're going to do better for the society, by just an application. It's like probably it would be like 4 or 5 questions on what do you want to do and why. And if you get a scholarships, I mean, you have to put a lot of effort. You have to apply for like 7, 8, 9, how much ever scholarships. You might just get one. So being from a country which is like, you know, developing, and then coming here, it was not easy for me. And apply for scholarships, look for opportunities, and keep doing the groundwork. I used to spend like hours and hours like Googling, um, you know, all the optometric courses all around the world. And then, then I landed up here. So
Ms. Tashi, you wanted to add something regarding this?
Yeah. Now, so in context of Australia, I also asked some of my optometrist friends here. They suggest, like they said me that they don't provide any scholarship if you want to do masters, bachelors in optometry. But yeah, if you wanna do PhD here, then yeah, there are scholarships, because even if in my university there are lots of Indian and Nepalese students doing PhD in scholarship. But in masters and in undergraduate, I'm not aware of any scholarship they offer. And just to confirm about that, I also asked some of the optometrists here, and yeah, they said like we don't think there are any for international students.
And regarding the cultural shift, what was your experience regarding the cultural shift that you experienced, and how did you adapt to it?
For me, it's funny because when I moved here, I saw lots of Nepalese. Yeah, I saw lots of Nepalese, and yeah, it was very easy for me, because the area where I live, it's like Nepalese city, and there are lots of Nepalese. So for me, I didn't find any cultural shift, to
So
be honest.
did you not
Yeah,
miss the home food?
I didn't like. I sometimes miss, but you can find it anywhere here. Like you can find all the Nepalese food, all the Indian food. So I didn't have any of that experience, to be honest.
All right, Ms. Bhagyashri, how would you summarize your experience regarding the cultural shift?
okay, I was thinking that I'm in Scotland right now, so obviously the accent, British accent is different from the Scottish accent. That was the most difficult part of this whole thing, because the accent here is very, very difficult. But
Could you
now
give a
I'm used to
sample?
it. Probably if you say water, it's water, and
So
then what?
Okay.
the
Yeah, it's like
the thing completely goes away.
there's no t, there's no r. Butter is butter, and it's just weird. And sometimes probably you can just look at some YouTube videos where they talk about Scottish accent. And even if if you're good at English, when you come here you feel like you don't know anything.
All
That took
right.
me a lot of maybe a month or so to get used to it. Otherwise food and otherwise everything is fine, because you find Indian groceries here and Indian restaurants. I think Scottish people like to eat Indian food. And then obviously there's communities there with Nepali and Pakistanis as well, so we share almost the same taste buds, so it's not very different. Food wise, I think, was not a problem, but the accent in Scotland is a little bit tough to catch hold of. um, the best part about the university where I study in, they understand that we are international students, so they go slow. Okay, and they ask us if we have understood, and and then they have classes to pick up these accents as well. So
Oh, that
Yeah,
is
I agree
wonderful.
with that. Yeah, I agree with that, because they know that you're not from Australia, you're not from here, so they try to help as much as they can. Like they are very helpful, I'd say that.
Thank you. We have arrived towards the end of the panel discussion. I would like to extend a heartfelt thanks to all of our panelists for a wonderful discussion today and great insights. So before wrapping up, I'd like to ask our panelists if there's anything that we've missed, or if anything there is that you would like to add here, Ms. Tashi.
I'll just say, if you decide to do something, then you have to be confirmed that you want to do that. If you just decide like, I want to study optometry, I'm gonna go to abroad, and you come and you then later then you regret that, oh, this was not what I wanted to do, why did I came here, then that would be a waste of time. waste of money, waste of everything. So whatever you decide before going abroad, your decision should be like something that makes you happy later on, something that would be useful for you in your later life. Yeah.
Ms. Bhageshri, anything that you would like to add here, something we've missed today or something that you would like to tell us?
Well, I agree with Tashi, what she said, that you have to be very clear on what you are going for, and you have to, sometimes look at the future. And then I would like to add that when we think from a family, or when we look back and where we came from, sometimes we think that, okay, going to abroad is difficult. I would say no, it's not, unless and until you are clear with your goals. Okay, once you're clear, everything is easier because you will work for it. Okay, and as Tashi said, that you just want to go abroad and just do masters, but then you don't get anything out of it, is no point. And I would also like to thank you guys for this opportunity to speak and probably give an insight to optometrists or students who want to pursue studies abroad. I wish I had a platform for optometry, because many people in India are still not aware of what optometry is. So I'm happy to give my smallest knowledge and to the students, and probably inspire a bit, and keep doing the good work. I really like your videos.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. And thank you again, Ms. Bhageshri and Ms. Tashi, for being here, joining me today for the ForOptom Optometry Updates panel discussion. So this brings us to the end of the session. For more updates on optometry, hit the subscribe button below. Stay tuned for more sessions, programs, and updates from ForOptom. You can also visit us at www.foroptom.com. Also join us on social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. This is your host, Manashri, signing off now. Stay home, stay safe, and have a good day. Thank you. And in case you come back to India, then how do you decide, how do you plan on continuing your okay.
You can repeat the question if you want.
Yeah. In case you come back